I did my book report on Trash by Dorothy Allison. This book is a book compiled of a bunch of short stories of a girl who lived in poverty. She suffered from physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. She identified as a lesbian, and with all of those things being tied together, she also lived in South Carolina. The book never discussed her ethnicity or her race. It didn't even give a first name for her. The author shares stories of the main character trying to overcome a place on the social stratification ladder that she believed to be shameful and well-deserved. She felt like society thinks that this is where she should be at. The main character suffers abuse from her stepfather. She finds herself addicted to drugs, marijuana to be specific. She's unable to feel love. It talks about several relationships that she has where she does not love the person that she's with. She's just with them because that's what she wants at the time. One of the things that are specifically discussed is a relationship that she's in. The other person tells her that she loves her and she knows she does, and the main character specifically tells her, no, I'm just here for the sex. She struggles with her family wanting her to have kids. She obviously cannot because she identifies as a lesbian, but she doesn't want to either because of the way she was brought up. She doesn't want to continue that cycle. She struggles with stealing and overcoming how she was brought up. Some theories that I was able to assess the main character with are the strengths perspective. She's a college graduate, which was huge from where she came from. There weren't any college graduates in her family. The systems theory. She depended on her mother and her two sisters more than anything. She would use them for emotional support, and they would use her for emotional support. After she graduated college, she moved out of her home, and she never really returned home. But when she did, it was only to cater to her mother and her mother's needs. That was her way of just telling her mother that she was going to be there. The other theory that I included is the social learning theory. She learned from her environment. She learned stealing, but also in her environment. The book doesn't really specify how she learned this, but she knows that stealing is not okay. She also learned abuse from her stepfather, but she also knows that abuse is not okay and should not be tolerated. The one thing in this book that was really hard to read is that her mother kept telling her not to tell anyone. So she deals with that and deals with having to keep quiet when she knows that she should tell. The cultural reflections that I was able to pull from the book is she talks about being bad poor and good poor. She describes good poor as someone who can hold a job, who works, but is still just poor. They're a wholesome person. They don't make ends meet. A bad poor is something that she categorizes herself in, and that is, you don't hold a job, your kids are not disciplined, you're strung out on drugs and alcohol, and that is something that she talks about a lot, is her family are all of those things. She even specifies as one of her aunts having 11 kids, and all 11 kids were taken away because she was unable to care for them. Not because the woman did not even try, and she could care less that her kids were gone. It goes more along the lines of being bad poor. She had expected views of respect. She felt that she deserved to be treated horribly because of where she came from. She was bad poor. She felt that was okay, and she felt that because she came from poverty that she didn't deserve anything good to happen to her. she felt like she deserved her social status, even though she went to college and she did graduate, which that's how you move up in the social world, is you better yourself through education, through your career. But even though that she did better herself, she felt that she deserved to be treated badly because of where she came from. And that is my report.